There is a quiet, almost magical satisfaction in watching a single dormant green stem transform into a breathtaking blooming rose bush. For generations, master gardeners have passed down secrets of plant propagation, whispering about methods that bypass the expensive chemical-laden powders found on garden center shelves. Many beginners believe that propagating roses is a difficult task reserved only for professional horticulturists with climate-controlled greenhouses. However, the truth is that nature has already provided us with everything we need to succeed, right inside our own kitchens. By understanding the biology of the rose plant and leveraging the natural properties of everyday ingredients, you can easily grow dozens of healthy rose bushes from cuttings. Most gardeners don't know this, but the secret to successful propagation doesn't start in the soil. It starts with selecting the perfect cutting. If you choose a stem that is too young and soft, it will rot within days. If you choose one that is too old and woody, it will sit in the ground for months without ever producing a single root. The sweet spot lies in what we call semi-hardwood. This is a stem that has recently flowered, where the wood is firm but still flexible, typically about the thickness of a standard pencil. When you squeeze it gently, it should feel sturdy, not squishy. Once you have identified the ideal stem on your parent rose bush, you want to take a cutting that is between 6 and 8 inches long, which is roughly 15 to 20 centimeters. This length is crucial because it contains enough stored energy to keep the stem alive while it works to grow new roots. But here is the step many people skip. You must count the nodes. Nodes are the slightly swollen joints along the stem where leaves and buds emerge. Your cutting must have at least 3 of these nodes. These areas are packed with meristematic cells, which are essentially plant stem cells. Under the right conditions, these cells can transition from producing leaves to producing roots. To prepare the cutting, you will need a pair of sharp, sterilized pruning shears. Dull blades will crush the delicate vascular system of the stem, blocking water transport and inviting disease. First, carefully remove the leaves from the lower half of the cutting. Leaving too many leaves on a cutting is a recipe for failure, as they will transpire and lose valuable moisture that the rootless stem cannot replace. However, do not strip the stem completely bare. Keep 1 or 2 small leaves at the very top. These remaining leaves will perform a gentle level of photosynthesis, producing just enough sugars to fuel the rooting process without demanding too much energy or water from the plant. Next, we must prepare the base of the stem where the new roots will form. Using your sharp shears, make a clean, diagonal cut at a 45-degree angle right below the lowest node. This diagonal cut is incredibly important because it maximizes the surface area of the cambium layer, the green ring of tissue just beneath the bark where root development occurs. Here is where the real secret begins. Once your diagonal cut is made, you want to gently scrape away the very outer layer of the bark on the bottom half-inch of the stem. Be incredibly gentle here. You only want to expose the light green cambium layer, not gouge into the white wood beneath. This scraping action triggers a natural wound response in the rose, signaling the plant to send its internal healing hormones directly to the base of the stem. But an open wound on a plant is just like an open wound on a human. It is highly vulnerable to infection by soil-borne pathogens, bacteria, and fungi. To protect our delicate cutting, we turn to a powerful, natural antiseptic found in almost every kitchen: fresh garlic. Take a single clove of garlic, cut it in half to expose the juices, and gently rub the wet surface directly onto the freshly scraped base of your rose cutting. Garlic contains a potent compound called allicin, which acts as a natural broad-spectrum antifungal and antibacterial agent. By coating the cut end with garlic juice, you are creating an organic shield that prevents harmful microorganisms from invading the stem while it prepares to root. This simple step alone can double your propagation success rate, yet it is a technique that very few modern gardeners utilize. With our cutting prepared and protected, we must now focus on creating a powerful, all-natural rooting stimulant. While synthetic rooting hormones are widely available, they often contain chemical compounds that can be harsh on delicate young plant tissues, sometimes causing chemical burns that stunt growth. A natural, organic approach mimics the rich, biodiverse environment of healthy forest soil, providing not just hormones, but also essential vitamins, minerals, and beneficial microbes that support holistic plant development. To create this ultimate rooting elixir, we will combine 3 simple ingredients: rice, garlic, and potato. Most gardeners don't know this, but raw white rice is an absolute powerhouse for plant propagation. Rice grains are naturally coated with B-complex vitamins, particularly thiamine or vitamin B1. In the agricultural world, thiamine is widely recognized for its ability to stimulate root development and help plants recover from transplant shock. Additionally, rice contains trace minerals and starches that serve as a direct food source for beneficial microorganisms, encouraging them to multiply and form a symbiotic relationship with the developing roots. To begin preparing our natural rooting solution, measure out 3 tablespoons, approximately 50 grams, of raw, uncooked white rice and place it into a clean glass container. Next, take 3 fresh cloves of garlic. Instead of leaving them whole, chop them finely. Chopping the garlic ruptures its cell walls, releasing a high concentration of allicin and other sulfur compounds into our mixture. These compounds will work in tandem with the rice to create an environment that is highly stimulating to plant tissue, but completely hostile to mold, mildew, and rot. Now, add 300 milliliters of clean, filtered water to the rice and chopped garlic. Stir the mixture thoroughly, ensuring the rice grains are well agitated to release their beneficial starches and vitamins into the water. Let this mixture steep. As it sits, the water will turn a milky white color, indicating that the nutrients have successfully infused into the liquid. Once the solution is ready, take your prepared rose cutting and place the scraped garlic-rubbed base directly into the liquid. Let it soak undisturbed for 20 minutes. During this time, the capillary action of the stem will draw the nutrient-rich, thiamine-packed water up into its vascular system, hydrating the cutting from the inside out while delivering a concentrated dose of growth-stimulating enzymes directly to the cambium layer. While the cutting is enjoying its nutrient bath, we can begin preparing the next phase of our natural rooting system, which involves the humble potato. Potatoes are packed with starch, potassium, vitamin B6, and natural plant hormones that encourage cell division. When used correctly, a potato acts as both a slow-release nutrient source and a self-regulating moisture reservoir for the developing cutting. What happened next surprised me when I first tested this method years ago. Instead of just using the potato flesh, we are going to utilize the entire potato, starting with the skin. Take a fresh, organic potato and peel it carefully. The skin of the potato is highly concentrated with active enzymes and growth regulators that the potato plant uses to sprout new eyes. Cut these potato peels into small, fine pieces and place them into a separate plastic cup. Add 200 milliliters of water to the cup containing the chopped potato peels. Give the mixture a good stir and let it sit for 10 minutes. This allows the water to extract the vital starches, potassium, and active enzymes from the peels, creating a secondary nourishing liquid that we will use later to hydrate our planting medium. While the peel mixture is steeping, take the remaining flesh of the potato and cut it into small, neat cubes, roughly 1.5 inches on each side. Using a clean tool, Carefully bore a small, narrow hole directly into the center of each potato cube. Be careful not to puncture all the way through the bottom. You want to create a snug, secure pocket. This potato cube will serve as a moist, nutrient-dense incubator for our rose cutting, protecting it from drying out while providing a continuous supply of moisture and starch as the first delicate root initials begin to emerge. Once the 10 minutes have passed, our potato peel infusion will be fully saturated with nutrients. To prepare both of our liquid stimulants for use, we must strain them. Using a fine mesh strainer, pour the rice and garlic mixture into a clean container, separating the liquid from the solid rice grains and garlic pieces. Do the same with the potato peel mixture, straining the liquid into a separate cup. What you are left with are two incredibly potent, completely organic liquids: a vitamin-rich, pathogen-fighting rice and garlic solution, and an enzyme-dense potato skin extract. Here is where the real secret begins when it comes to the planting medium. Many beginner gardeners make the critical mistake of planting their cuttings directly into standard potting soil or rich compost. While this seems logical, it is actually one of the primary reasons why rose cuttings fail to root. Potting soil is often heavy, retains too much water, and contains high amounts of organic matter that can harbor fungal spores. In a heavy, wet environment, a rootless cutting cannot breathe, and the base will quickly succumb to anaerobic rot. To give our rose cuttings the absolute best chance of survival, we will use loose, well-draining river sand. River sand is coarse, sterile, and highly porous. It allows water to drain away instantly, while retaining just enough moisture around the grains of sand to keep the environment humid. More importantly, the spaces between the coarse sand grains are filled with oxygen. Roots require oxygen to grow. Without it, the cells at the base of the stem will suffocate and die. Furthermore, because sand contains virtually no nutrients, it forces the cutting to actively search for food, stimulating the rapid outward growth of strong, searching roots. To set up our propagation vessel, we will use a clear plastic cup. Using a clear cup is a veteran gardener's trick that many people overlook. It allows you to monitor the root development in real time without ever having to pull the cutting out of the medium, which would break the delicate, hair-like young roots. Make sure to poke several drainage holes in the bottom of the cup to ensure that any excess water can escape freely. Fill the clear cup about 2/3 full with your clean river sand. Now, take your rose cutting out of its 20-minute rice and garlic bath. Gently insert the scraped, prepared base of the cutting directly into the hole you bored into the center of the potato cube. The fit should be snug, ensuring that the cambium layer of the stem is in direct contact with the moist, nutrient-rich flesh of the potato. Place the potato cube, with the rose cutting standing upright, directly in the center of your sand-filled cup. Carefully add more river sand around the sides of the potato, filling the cup until the potato cube is completely covered and the cutting is securely anchored in place. The sand will hold the potato in a stable, moist environment, while the potato itself will act as a buffer, preventing the cutting from experiencing any dry spells. Now, we must hydrate our planting medium with our prepared natural stimulants. Take your strained rice and garlic solution and pour it gently over the sand, allowing it to saturate the medium completely. The excess liquid will drain out of the bottom holes, leaving the sand perfectly damp and infused with B vitamins, allicin, and beneficial enzymes. This liquid not only hydrates the sand, but also creates a protective, sterile zone around the potato and the cutting, keeping harmful pathogens at bay. To maximize the effectiveness of this setup, we must create a controlled microclimate for our cutting. Because the stem does not yet have roots to draw up water, it is highly susceptible to drying out due to evaporation from the air. To prevent this, we will build a mini greenhouse. Take a second, slightly larger clear plastic cup, Invert it and place it directly over the top of your planting cup, creating a sealed dome. This simple dome traps the moisture evaporating from the damp sand, creating a high humidity environment where the relative humidity remains close to 100%. Under this dome, the rose cutting can survive and thrive without losing its precious internal moisture. With our mini greenhouse assembled, the final crucial phase of the propagation journey begins. Place your setup in a warm, bright location, but keep it completely out of direct sunlight. This is a critical detail that many beginners overlook. Direct sunlight shining onto the clear plastic cups will create a magnifying effect, raising the temperature inside the dome to scorching levels that will literally cook the delicate cutting. Instead, choose a spot that receives bright, filtered indirect light, such as a north-facing windowsill or beneath the canopy of a larger house plant. To maintain the perfect level of humidity inside the dome, check on your cutting every few days. If you notice that the condensation on the inside of the top cup has disappeared, gently lift the dome and mist the cutting and the surface of the sand with a spray bottle filled with your remaining potato peel extract. This will keep the environment humid while delivering a fresh boost of potassium and enzymes to the growing medium. During the first week, it may look like nothing is happening, but beneath the surface of the sand, a fascinating biological process is taking place. The cells at the base of the stem are absorbing the starch and nutrients from the potato, utilizing the B vitamins from the rice water to fuel rapid cell division. By the second week, the results became visible just days later as the cambium layer begins to form a textured white tissue known as a callus. This callus is a sign of ultimate health. It is the precursor to root formation. At this stage, you may also notice the dormant buds on the upper portion of the stem beginning to swell and take on a healthy pinkish-green hue. By the third week, the real magic happens. If you look through the clear walls of the plastic cup, you will begin to see the first thick white roots pushing their way out of the potato cube and anchoring themselves into the coarse river sand. These roots will look incredibly healthy, thick, and fuzzy with tiny root hairs, a direct result of the nutrient-rich, well-oxygenated environment we created. Simultaneously, the buds at the top of the cutting will burst open, revealing fresh, vibrant green leaves. This harmonious balance of root growth and shoot development marks a highly successful propagation. Once the root system has filled the cup, visible as a beautiful web of white roots pressing against the clear plastic, your new rose plant is ready to be transitioned to its permanent home. To do this, gently slide the entire root ball, sand and all, out of the cup. You will find that the potato cube has partially broken down, serving its purpose perfectly as a starter fertilizer. Plant your young rose into a larger pot, filled with a high-quality organic potting mix that is rich in compost and peat moss. At this stage, the young plant will be hungry for nutrients to support its rapid growth. You can continue to water it with a diluted organic liquid fertilizer to encourage strong stem development. If you notice any signs of nutrient deficiency in your young roses as they grow, such as yellowing leaves with green veins, which indicates a lack of iron, or pale green leaves at the bottom of the plant, which suggests a need for nitrogen, simply apply a light dressing of organic compost or a splash of compost tea. This will provide a gentle, slow-release source of nutrients that will keep your rose bush thriving for years to come. Propagating roses using this natural kitchen ingredient method is not only incredibly cost-effective, but it also connects us back to the fundamental rhythms of nature. It teaches us patience, observation, and the power of organic gardening. I would love to hear about your gardening journey. What is your absolute favorite variety of rose that you dream of propagating in your own backyard? Let me know in the comments below. If you found these time-tested gardening secrets helpful and want to learn more natural ways to help your garden thrive, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your fellow plant lovers, and subscribe to the channel. Happy gardening, and I look forward to sharing more green thumb wisdom with you in our next video.